He said a certain man had two sons. This is Jesus speaking to some people that were around him, scribes, Pharisees, and other people that were around him. And he said, a certain man had two sons, and the younger of them said to the father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. So, once again, the man had two sons. The younger son is saying to his father, give me basically now my inheritance, part of portion of goods that falleth to me. So the father honored the son's request. He divided unto him his living. Okay. And then here, verse 13. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. So, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. So, so the younger son got what he wanted, got his inheritance. So now, I'm leaving. I'm going on this journey. Here, it says to a far country. So basically, I'm leaving all the things that I'm familiar with. I'm leaving my father's house. I'm leaving this hometown. I'm leaving maybe this country even. Well, yeah, probably it's because it said a far country. So I'm leaving this country, going, out of the ark of safety, really. Because if we can, and I wanted to point that out too. We can look at this, as being like us, just your everyday person. And then this father being, like an example or representation of God and our relationship with him. So this son, like I said, went on a far journey. Took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance. So all the money, all the inheritance that he had, he wasted it on riotous living. So basically doing everything he was big and bold enough to do. He did it. Okay. And then verse 14, and when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. Which I think is so fitting. When we leave the presence of God, basically, we will squander whatever we have. And it says here, after he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine. So I look at this as being I think Rashika, it was you talking about that a couple of weeks ago. Like sometimes he'll throw a little pebble, then a rock, then a brick. Then next you might be slamming into a whole wall. Okay, so there arose a mighty famine. So you left the ark of safety, left your father's house, going into this far country, and basically had your good time, spent all you had. Okay, and then there arose a mighty, not just a famine, but it says a mighty famine. Okay, in that land, to that very place that you left the comforts of home to go to, and he began to be in want. Okay, so basically he began to be in lack. Okay, he didn't have anything that he needed. Verse 15, and he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. Very, very important information given right here. Which furthers my point. It says, and he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country. Once again, leaving, his people, the people of God, okay, that basically live according to the statutes and commandments of God, and going into this foreign place now where we know that these people don't honor God. How do we know that? It says, send them in the field to feed swine. God's people not going to have swine, especially not during this time. Okay? They're not going to have pigs, and nothing to do with pigs. All right? That is an abomination, something that God absolutely detests. Okay? Especially, like I said, in this time, in the Old Testament here. So, but it says here that he joined himself to a citizen of that country. If you remember, well, I don't know if you all remember, but we have gone through Psalm 1. Okay, the first Psalm. Oh, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. So, blessed is the man, that does not basically make his habitation, does not make his home with sinners. Okay, and or does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly. So basically, counsel, basically taking your wisdom from some other place, other than from God or the people of God that basically live this thing, live this thing. And here he's left all of that. He's left all of it. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. So basically, it's saying he would have loved to have eaten basically the slop that these pigs were eating. That's how, desperate his situation got. He would have loved to have had that, even what the pigs had. It said, and no man gave to him. So even what the pigs had, the slop, the last little bit or whatever, the scraps, they wouldn't even give him that. Wouldn't even give him that. So once again, he's left the comforts of his own home, of his father's house, to go into this place, and then joined himself with someone that doesn't even look out for him. That was a commandment of God, for when, people go out to harvest your fields, you leave for the widows and for the poor. You leave some for them. So God was always taking care of his own, of his children, always providing. And when he had came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger. So I love that when it said, and he came to himself. Some people don't come to themselves. They never get back to that reality of how good it was, in my father's house. Maybe it's some resentment. Maybe it's something that you hold on to, your pride even, that keeps you from realizing, how good you had it in your father's house. And some people choose, I'm going to say, the streets. They just for the streets, whatever streets have for them. Like that's what they want. Okay. Whereas here, he's wishing for, the slop that the pigs eat. But it says he came to himself. And he's thinking back now, like the hired servants in my father's house, they not only have enough, they have spare. They have extra. Okay. And here I am starving, and nobody will give me anything. I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. So, like I said, he came to himself. So now he's getting his speech ready. He's getting his speech ready. He is setting his pride to the side. He's realizing his mistake. I have left my father's house where there was more than enough, not just for me, but even for my father's servants. See, but understanding also, he's different from a servant. He's a son. He's a son. So with sonship, think about it. All your parents on here, think about it. With sonship, even daughtership, there are privileges that come. There are benefits that come with you, being a parent of that child. You may look out for someone else's child, but there are benefits that come with you being a parent of your child. Okay. So here he's realizing, all these things that he had access to, and realizing, that he fell short. I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and I'm not worthy to be called your son. All the blessings that you gave me now, like, just make me a servant. Just make me a servant, please, that I can have something to eat every day. That I know I'm going to have something to eat. And like you said, and some spare, some extra. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. Very, very powerful, just scene to me. That, he hadn't even seen his father yet, but his father saw him. Okay. Even that, like some people wish, they right in front of their parents, and they wish their parents would see them, but here he is a great way off still, and his father saw him, even in his condition that he was in, but basically not looking like a son. His father had servants, so clearly there was wealth there. even not looking like himself, his father recognized who he was, and he had compassion on him. And they say, and he ran and fell on his neck, basically hugging him tight, just kissing him, holding him, not thinking about, oh, he's filthy, he probably smells, he's been laying with pigs, just in slop, just a whole mess, but his father, his heart is for his child, for his son. And then think about that once again. See this father, his actions, what he's doing, how he's feeling about his child. Like, that's how God feels about us. Like, this is his exact same way, God feels about us. When we basically leave that ark of safety, when we leave, the presence of the God, we're not praying like we should, when we know to pray, when we're not reading the word of God like we should, when we know to read the word of God, but we're just going on doing what we want to do, whatever that may be.